everybody, it's Frozen with Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for joining me for another video of beginner hammock camping. Today we're either talking about the most boring topic in the world or the most interesting topic in the world. I'm talking about knots today, specific hammock camping knots, things that will make your life easier and safer. Now, if you missed the last video where I talked about the Marlin spike hitch, you're in luck. You don't have to go rewatch that video. I'm going to go over it again because it is such an important knot to know. It's good for your PCT bear bagging hang. It's great for whoopee slings. And it's also really good if you just want to attach your continuous loop right onto your webbing. But we're also going to get into another knot today that lets you do that without the toggle. So let's take a look at the Marlin spike hitch first. The Marlin spike hitch. Now you can see this is the knot, here's the toggle, and here is the continuous loop of our hammock. If we want to put our hammock onto this knot, we simply go like that, and now the continuous loop is on top of the knot, not the toggle. For the Marlin spike hitch, we're going to take our webbing and our toggle. We're going to make a loop, a very simple loop. Make sure the tail end of the webbing is over top of the loop. From there, we're just going to flip it up. And then we're going to take our two fingers and grab the webbing that's behind. So we're going to grab this webbing and pull it out. Okay? So if you turn this, you can see that we have a loop here. That's where we're going to put our toggle. So we're going to take our toggle and just insert it into the knot. Pull tight. And that is the Marlin spike hitch. From there, what we can do is we can take the whoopee sling or the continuous loop of our hammock and put it over top of the knot. Not on the toggle, but over top of the knot. So you can see that. So here's what I mean by not on the toggle. So you can see if I drop that down, we are resting on the toggle itself. That's not good because what that's going to do is just going to bend your toggle in half. We want to sit that on the top of the knot. So now you can see there's nothing actually attached to the toggle. Nothing. We're just resting on the knot and the toggle is holding the knot together. That is the Marlin spike hitch. To get it out, pull the toggle out and your Marlin spike hitch becomes undone. Okay, the next loop is a very simple loop. I'm not sure the technical name. This is going to be the knot that you're going to use to make a loop on the end of your rope to attach to your tent stakes or to the tree so you can kind of run the line through itself just like that. So what I do here, and I'm sure that there is a technical name for the knot that I'm tying. I just really don't know it off the top of my head. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the tail end and just place it next to the other line of string. Okay, in this case we're using some paracord. I'm only using this paracord not because I like it for hammocks. I actually hate it for hammocks, but it's because it's orange and it's easy to see for you guys. So we're going to take this loop, we're going to grab it with our other hand, wrap it around the bottom of the knot. Okay, see I'm doing that real simple, and then just pass it through the top loop, and then we can simply just adjust it to the height that we want and pull everything tight. That gives us a little loop that we can work with on the end of our guy line. If you want to look at my thumb as a tent stake, you can just put the loop on the end of the tent stake and it's not going anywhere. Now, I would not use this knot for any serious applications like for supporting body weight or tying anything to your hammock like this, but for tarps and guy lines, this is perfectly acceptable. So let me just show you that one more time. So we're just going to make a little loop on the end and pinch it right about here. And then we're going to take our other hand and just grab the knot, wrap it around our fingers and around the knot itself at the bottom. And we're just going to slide it through the loops that we just created and then pull everything tight. Okay. And like I said, this is good for attaching a tarp to a tree or running it through itself. So you can kind of see that. Or like I said, if you want to attach your guy lines and tent stakes, this is a great little knot that does a very good job. The next knot we're going to learn is called the taut line hitch. Now this is an adjustable knot, so we can move the knot up and down the line after we get done tying it. This is great between two anchor points like trees. Say you need a clothesline to draw out your clothes, or you want to use it for your tarp ridge line. It works great for that as well. So what we do with this, we start by making a cross, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this end around this top ridge line. Okay, so we're just going to take it, throw it over because it's a little long, and you see we just have a wrap in here. We're going to pass it through the loop and up. Okay. So we're left with this right now. From here, we're going to go behind the ridgeline part of the rope and then back up through that loop that we're making. Okay, from here, try to position it between those two loops that you just made. Throw it behind again, and you can see we have a little loop where right now we're behind. This rope that I have in my right hand is behind the ridge line that we want to use to adjust. So what I like to do is you can do two things. You can pull this rope the whole way through, or you can just put a little, it's called a bite. So you can easily just pull down this line to untie it. And what that will give us is a nice adjustable knot. We can really use this to crank it down and make it guitar string tight, or we can take the knot and slide it down the rope. Okay, it supports a little bit of weight. I wouldn't go too crazy with it, but for our applications coming down to a tent stake or using it for a clothesline or a ridge line, it'll be perfectly fine. Now, there is another easy way to tie this that works for our applications for hammocking. And this is the way I learned it. So what you can do, just for hammock applications, I'm not saying you should do this to save your life, but you can just wrap it around once, wrap it around twice, wrap it around thrice. Okay, so you see we have 3 turns in there. And what you can do is you can just tie it off right here. Okay, it still does the same thing. You can really tighten it down to guitar string tension, or you can loosen it up. That's just an easier way to tie it, in my opinion. The correct way is the first way that I showed you. That is the taut line hitch. The next knot we're going to take a look at is the prusik knot, right in front of you. Now the cool thing about this knot is once it's tied correctly, it's really hard to move up and down the line if you're holding it at the bottom. But if you pinch it, you can easily just slide it up and down. It's really useful for, say I want to hang up a clothes bag above my head or attach a pillow and make it adjustable, or even if I want to connect my tarp to that ridge line, the taut line hitch that I was just showing you, you're easily able to do that, and then you'll be able to center your tarp on your ridge line. So let's look at how to do this. To tie the prusik knot, what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over top of our ridge line, in this case a hammock ridge line, and then we're going to take the tied end or whatever end you want, and we're going to slide it in between the loop on the bottom. Okay, just like this. Maybe twice, and then maybe a third time. From there, all we have to do is take it, get some tension, and pull down. At this point, we have the prusik knot tied, but we just want to make it a little prettier. So we're going to move all the loops right beside each other. Okay, and then tighten it up very carefully. All right, now you can slide it back. Oh, I tightened it down enough. Okay, so usually you just slide it up and down the ridge line and it will tighten up. But as you can see, it's a pretty good knot for putting things where you want. Like I said, you can attach my clothes bag up here in case I want to stash some extra clothes in the middle of the night, and that will hold that. So let's do that one more time with the prusik knot. Fold it over top of the line, and we're just going to slide whatever end through the loop a couple times. 1, 2, 3, and then we're just going to pull down. Again, dress it up a little bit, make it look pretty. Okay, and then again, just kind of squeeze everything together. Now, I'm going to cover a topic where I talk about a Dutch wear continuous ridgeline. This prusik loop, prusik knot, is what holds the tarp to the continuous ridgeline. So if you're ever curious or need to fix it, in case you've accidentally untied it or it's just becoming unbearably hard to move up and down the line, that is the knot that Dutch wear uses. The last knot I'm going to talk to you about today is called the Becket hitch. So the Becket hitch is meant to take your webbing of your suspension and attach it directly to your continuous loop of your hammock. Here's my hammock right here. Now this is great even if you're not planning on using this as your primary suspension, because I've seen actually twice now a cinch buckle breaking. And the reason it broke is it just wasn't hung correctly. It was hung too tight, and the toggle inside the buckle actually cracked in half. So this is what we had to tie on there to get that hammock to work. And all it is, it's just a simple knot that is done without hardware, and it works out really, really well. Now you can use this as your primary hammock suspension because it is completely adjustable, and it really, really is easy to tie once you get the hang of it. So what we're going to do to tie this, I'm going to see if I can do this without being in the shot. Here's the end of our webbing. We're just going to run it through the loop. And you want to go about maybe a half an inch to an inch higher than you normally would. So that for me is right about here. Because when you get in the hammock, this knot's going to tighten up. That's why we're doing that. From here, all you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and your forefinger and just pinch on that continuous loop. All right. This is the only tricky part, and I promise this is a very, very easy knot to tie. What we're going to do is we're going to make a loop, take our pinky, and take it underneath. Okay? So I'm holding with my pinky right here. I'm holding the loop that I just dragged underneath of the continuous loop, and I'm using my fingers right here. Just like the Marlin spike hitch, we're going to take that loop that was on my pinky and we're going to slide it through. If you do not see your continuous loop at the top of the knot, that means you've messed up somewhere and it needs to be retied. So let's go over that one more time. Pinch the continuous loop, grab a piece with your fingers, grab a piece with your pinky, all right, and then just grab it with your thumb. And you can see we have the continuous loop above the knot. So I'm going to get in, and you can see the amount of tension that's going to be on the knot once it settles. So maybe you can kind of get an idea where you need to put that knot. So I'm getting in right now. So I'm getting in right now. So I'm getting in right now. Hopefully you guys can see that. But you see, it really doesn't move a whole heck of a lot. Okay, so this is called the Becket hitch. And when we want to pack up the hammock, all you got to do is take the tail end and pull it through. The reason why I like the Becket hitch compared to the J-bend, which is very, very similar, is that it keeps your hammock up and off the ground. I'm not going to get into the J-bend because I think it's just a little harder, and the Becket hitch works great. Well, everybody, I hope that helped somebody. That was about how to tie some knots that I think every hammock camper should know. So I suggest learn how to tie those knots this week. Take your time, get really good at all of them that I just showed you. You will have a practical use for every single one of them. I promise you, you will use them over the years when you start to hammock camp. In the next video, we're going to take a look at tarps and we are going to go into all those knots and put them to a practical use. So I can show you how to attach your ridgeline to your tarp, how to attach your tarp to your stakes, how to wrap around a tree, and so on and so on. So everybody, I'm Frozen with Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.